Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders, like, where else are they going to go? They were so close and so tightly bound to Jackson State and Coach Prime. Once he got the call, and they were knowing up to the minute, where are we all going? I don't think there was ever a question. They just arrived in Boulder under their transfer deal. Hack, I'm gonna start with you. How big of a deal is it, and how much of the Coach Prime equation is acquiring talent that he got these two to come with him automatically to start the winter sprint, the winter break?
Well, I think it's massive. You look at Coach Prime and how hot his name was and some of the jobs that were open, and he ends up at Colorado, right? And a program that has some history, but as of late, really, it's kind of just been there. And it's a beautiful place. It's a place you can recruit to, great education, the whole nine. But he had to come in and start getting some names and some things that are going to get eyeballs on the screen watching that team play. And he's doing a good job of it, right? And I think that's part of the hire. He brings a persona, he brings an attitude that is flashy, and it's what he did at Jackson State, and that's how he got Travis Hunter there in the first place with a little NIL money as well. So I think for him, it's about bringing all that together, and now he's got to go out and put a good product on the field, and he knows it because of the expectations that he set for himself. So being able to land these two is obviously huge. I think there's some more gaps that he's got to build and continue to fill. But it's a great start. And I think for him, once he gets settled with a solid roster, especially like you said, with SC and UCLA leaving up out of the Pac-12, you still got Oregon, you still have some heavyweights that are consistent, but it leaves some more room for a team like Colorado to start making some noise out there. So, for him, I think it's very advantageous, and the timing couldn't be any better.
Timing couldn't be better. Trevor, I'm going to go with you. Since Shedeur Sanders played in your area, played in North Dallas, people don't really realize he's not just a coach's kid rolling with his dad. Like that's it from 30,000 feet. He had 24 Power 5 offers coming out of high school. He could have gone anywhere. But like most of us, yeah, you're going to roll with your father. You're going to roll with your dad just for that experience of just going to play for your dad. And then he takes the number one player in the country in Travis Hunter out of the Atlanta area and beats Alabama, Florida State, Clemson. Now it's natural for him because he's a corner to come with him to Jackson State in Jackson, Mississippi. Like, honestly, get real. So those two alone are big hits. But how much of an impact will these two have? Hack already kind of went through the overall broader scope of it. But when you put those two players on the field, I always look at talent as our guy. Could he start for your team? Probably. Yes, for sure. Yes. Equal over there. Like, they're already having a couple of those guys in key positions now, Trevor.
Yeah. I'll answer your question. I do want to piggyback off a Hack real quick before I do, though. You mentioned it. Shedeur following his dad is a no-brainer. The guy's got talent. He's going to be great wherever he's at, but he's attached to his dad. All that's good. The Travis Hunter deal, I am very pleased, relieved, and proud of him for going and following up on why he went to Jackson State in the first place. That's to play for Deion and to be molded by Deion. He goes there, he has success. He's got another opportunity to open it up. He can go anywhere he wants, and he still says, you know what? The reason I went to Jackson State is because of that guy. And after being with him for a year, I'm still going to Colorado because of that guy. So I think that's really cool, and that's a huge get. So to answer your question, absolutely massive, I think, from a culture standpoint, to have two leaders, guys that will be some of the best players on the team that have already spent a year, obviously with his dad, but with coach, so that they can take what Deion's trying to build and permeate that through the rest of the locker room. Hack said it. It's a massive get, and I think that those guys are two huge pieces. They may seem like obvious pieces to the outside world, but huge pieces internally to what Deion's going to build there.
And that's a good point, though, Trev, that you brought up about two soldiers in the locker room, because the way Deion entered that program and the things that he said nationally, disrupted that locker room, I would think. I mean, if I was sitting in that locker room, I'd be like, yo, man, how you gonna come in and say the things you said and not respect the body of work that we've put in up into this point in some fashion with some of the things that he said in terms of how they could be interpreted. Him being able to get two guys that have been there, done that for a couple of years with him in the locker room is going to help him win that locker room back over for any damage that he may or may not have done when he first got there with the press conference and how he did it, right?
Yeah, and I'll say this. I think we lost George for a second, but I'll say this about that. At first, our initial reaction obviously was, man, what is he doing? That was pretty harsh. I don't know if I would handle it that way. But the more that I've thought about his handling of that situation, the more I kind of get it coming from Deion. He wants to come in. He basically wants to say, hey, forget everything that you've ever known here. It's a new train coming into town, and either you're getting on it or you're not. Right. And of course, the way he went about it seemed harsh to everybody else. But I think he's just sticking to his guns and saying, hey, I'm bringing in some guys. They know how I work. You can either work the way I work or see you later. I don't want you because that's the way I'm going to do things.
Yep. And that's why that gets so big.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, I think this thing could be looked at two ways. And I think the majority of the country, the outside world, the casual fan watches and looks and hears what Deion says. And initially they sit back and think, whoa, that's really aggressive. I'm going to tell you, man, Prime is a very calculated dude. And while it may very well be ego-driven, I'm bringing my guys, look at me, I want all the cameras on me, we're trying to grow. It may very well be a scenario like that. But I tell you what, I think it's more likely that Prime went in there and he sat down with whatever decision makers are left and said, hey, what the hell's going on in Colorado? What is going on in this locker room?
Yeah.
And I bet you he heard guys are quitting, guys don't show up on time, they show up to class half the time, they expect everything to be handed to them. You know it. I mean, hell, we've all seen or been a part of or covered a team that's 1-11. I mean, we've heard that. And Prime went in there and didn't give two rips about appealing to the locker room, appealing to that particular type of player, and he took the opportunity to set the standard and say, hey, if you don't like it, I'm doing it right here in front of God and everybody. This ain't behind closed doors. I'm doing it for everybody to see. If you don't like it, get your ass up out of here because what you've been doing ain't going to work under me. I don't know which way it was, but all I'm telling is everybody out there that saw it and thinks flashy, look at me, Prime, you may be right, but I'm here to tell you he's a calculated dude, and there was a reason why he approached it that way.
But I push back on that from this standpoint. We don't know if it was coaching. We don't know if it was execution, whether it was injuries, whether guys are put in the wrong positions. They're just kids. So those kids put the uniform on. They got brought there. Like to get to dump 20 years of, like lackluster play on them, and the fans deserve better than you, and the school deserves better. It ain't on. If I'm in that room, that ain't on me. Hell, I'm trying to win
but
too.
Then look, but if you ain't one of them dudes, then it ain't on you. You're confident. You roll. You're gonna be all good. I'm just simply. I don't know why he did it, George. I don't know why Colorado wasn't worth a shit. I have no idea. But I'm telling you, I've been a part of a terrible locker room, and I can see where a coach would walk in and on the front end go, "Hey, 90% of you. I don't care why. I don't care how you got recruited. I don't care who got hurt." What y'all been doing, the culture that's here, it sucks. And I'm telling you up front, if you don't want to get on board, get your ass out.
I'm saying everybody in here, we're going a different direction together. Why would I put it on these kids? You guys have sucked. And I'm bringing my own guys with me, Louis luggage and all that stuff. You guys, I'm going to do better than y'all. You can hop it's like you, if you're going to lead, take them with you.
Look, George.
They can make it.
Hold on. I'm with you. I would have said it differently. I mean, we're simply talking about the way he entered the room and why he said what he may have said. I agree with you. Carrying Louis luggage and bringing all these guys. Like I wouldn't have went about it that way. I'm not Deion. That's just the way he does things. All I'm saying is there's another side to it of,
Right.
hey, man, the way y'all been doing shit around here ain't going to fly with me. So if you don't like it, move on. Right.
Yeah.
I think there's so much initial like, oh my God, I can't believe call it what you want, man. It's real. It's tough talk. If I were in that locker room and I were doing things right and I was busting ass, then I sit back and I ain't worried about it. I'm not worried about what Prime said or how he said it or who he's bringing.
Yeah, he left a lot up for interpretation there. You know what I mean? Like he left a lot for interpretation with a lot of kids who got emotional.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of emotion, a lot of growth, you know, that you don't have. And we often sit there as 18, 19-year-old kids, right? So to your point, Clint, like, yeah, I think he could have gone about it differently. I see your point of how, like, what he was saying. And if you evaluate it, it came from probably a good spot, right?
Yeah.
And good intentions of, like you were saying, this isn't acceptable. We're going a different direction. And if you're not with me, get out.
Yeah.
He could have done it more fluently. To Trevor's point, I think bringing in these two guys who've been in a culture with him and understand his messaging and what it may or may not mean could be really big, right? But they're going to have to go in there, immerse themselves in that locker room, win some guys over, and get everything going. And he's already done it at a place that hadn't, you know, it had some success, but like he's done it at a place that, you know, I think it was the first undefeated season in Jackson State history last year up until the bowl game here. So like done a damn good job already. We'll see how it works out, but I think he's heading in the right direction.